Hi, everybody. This is the Jiggy Jaguar Show. Welcome. And this is Roger Homefield. I'll be sitting in with Jiggy Jaguar today. And we've got a very interesting fellow with us today. We're going to have to put on our thinking caps to follow along. He's a very intelligent young man. He's got his master's in social work. He's got a Bachelor of Science in International Relations. He's a student of comparative religion. He's at it for 15 years, so that's quite a student. I said, are you a scholar? He said, no. But nonetheless, 15 years in that. Now, he's originally from Afghanistan. He's been in Australia for 40 years, and he calls himself, he's a Bani Israeli. He's going to explain what that is. Now, here's the thing. He's got a very interesting endeavor. I never heard of anybody doing this before, ever, Hawed. Hawed is the founder of the Afghan-Israeli Association. He's a passionate visionary, and he's embarking on a transformative mission to unite, check this out, to unite the 12 tribes of Bani Israel. And I've never heard of anybody else with that endeavor before. Hawed, welcome to the Jiggy Jaguar Show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you very much for the kind words. I really appreciate it.
Well, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. I was talking.
It's a privilege and an honor to be on your show, Roger. That's one thing I would like to say. It is a privilege. I'm really
no, you're a great guy. I was talking to him before the show, folks, and quite a guy. All right, so Hawed, we're going to need you to school us, including me, folks. We're all going to go to school now because this is stuff that you're not going to understand or know about. We've all heard of the 12 tribes of Israel, but I've never heard of anybody that said, I want to unite the 12 tribes of Israel again until now, Hawed. So, Hawed, go ahead and just start and explain to the folks in any way that you like.
Well, the same thing, Roger, that you as an American have no idea about, and the majority of the Americans have no about, that shocks you, makes me happy. And I'll tell you halfway through why what shocks you makes me happy. Is the fact that a lot of people, as a majority of the American nation is Christian, so I'll talk to them in a manner so they understand. They know about the 12 tribes. They know about the blessings and what happened, the Pharaoh from Moses up until when they went to Canaan. And they know all that stuff. But where the whole world forgets the 10 tribes is when the Assyrians attacked us in 722 BC, and we were actually spread out throughout the whole Assyrian Empire, which today is modern Iran, basically the Persians. So, and then we were basically settled in Ghor province and Ghazni province and Herat province of Afghanistan, and at the same time, some parts of Iran as well. And there's archaeological evidence to provide that, and we, as Pashtuns, practice Pashtunwala, which is the Torah. So it's basically the commandments that we were given in the Torah, we are actually following, and we call it Pashtunwala. Even the other 3 ethnic tribes of Afghanistan, if you ask them on the street, they will know what Pashtunwala is. It's very strong rooted. That rooted strong connection is we being as Israelis. And I'll tell you one thing. So basically, since then, 2,700 years, the whole world forgot about us. And above all, one more thing, I'll tell you something for the listeners as well. There's many claims in the world today that we are the lost tribe. Not just one. There's many. But the most compelling one is that the Pashtuns are the 10 lost tribes of Bani Israel, Israelis. Because we've got archaeological evidence, we have traditional practices, we have the Pashtunwala, which is the Torah basically, we have a lot of the customs today, and there's on my website, Israeli Pashtuns, I've given all the evidence and videos and articles. Even in Jerusalem Post, there was an article printed. I've got it on the website that says that there's a connection here, they might be our cousins.
Wow. Now, in Australia, are you very rare? I mean, do you have other Pashtun Israelis there with you, Bani Israelis, or you must be one of a kind, or what's
So I'll tell you something. I said, do you remember how I told you what shock you as an American makes me happy? Is because your listeners are probably saying, wow, what could this be true? But what makes me happy that nearly 60% of the Pashtuns know who we are. In Afghanistan, 60% of the Pashtuns, even hundreds of years ago, orally it's been brought down to us that you are the Bani Israeli. Don't forget that. So 60% do know that. And that's what makes me happy, because like you as an American, if you accept it or not, that's your prerogative. But what's important is that my people accept it. Because Rogers, don't forget that when I say my people, like I'm a Jew. Like if you go and see someone and tell you I'm an Israeli, they say you're a Jew. Mm-hmm. I'll put it in a nice way that I'm not a Jew, but I'm Jewish. I'm not a Jew. I'm Jewish.
Explain. I wanted to explain that. Come on. You can.
Well, I'll tell you something. That Roger, I believe that this is my personal belief. That, and it's more biblical as well, in my opinion, more Torah, is that our soul is Jewish. Inside we're Jewish. We're Jews. Our ancestry is Jews. Our language is Jews. Rogers, just because we were separated for 2,700 years doesn't mean that we're not Israelis. We know who we are. That's our traditions. That's our roots. We're the same people. If I ever find a Jew on the street, he could be a practicing Jew, but we're from the same nation. The reason he's practicing what he's practicing is because he was in that section, in that area. You had rabbis, you had literature, you had all the best people and intelligent people who were actually teaching you this stuff. We were exiled for 2,700 years, were forced to assimilate with the rest of the communities around us, and they adopted the religion that was adopted in that region. I'm not saying anything about what religion is right, what religion is wrong. I'm just giving you the historical background. But at the end of the day, we are from the same root. We are from the same ancestry, and I'm very proud of that. That's why I say I'm not a Jew. I'm not a Jew, but I'm definitely a Jewish. I'm Jewish, and I'm proud of that. And a lot of people might dislike that, but I don't have any issues with that. I am Jewish. That's who I am. That's what all of the Bani Israelis are. All of us, not just me.
Now you didn't just pull this idea out of a hat that you were going to reunify the 12 tribes. This is something that is in the Old Testament, and that it's predicted, or it's something that is supposed to happen, and you're trying to help it along. Explain that to me.
Well, see, things that, as I said, I speak to the evangelical Christians, that they're the ones who have been thumping their chests and running around, and they're waiting for the coming of the Messiah, and been so supportive of Israel. And today, that's what's happening. When I want to reunify the 12 tribes, that is not just something that I plucked out of the air. I the best way I can put it to you, Rogers, that 4.5 years I had a spiritual awakening. And how to explain that, it's difficult, but that's between me and my Hashem, the creator. But there was a lot of shocks for me as well. But this is not something that is just for the sake of reunification of the 12 tribes. There's much more to it. Like, but my birthright. According to the Torah, the children of Ephraim and Manasseh were given the sole responsibility. Whenever there's the 12 tribes disperse, it is our job to come and reunite the 12 tribes. Because if we don't do that, Rogers, I am a Pashtun Israeli. Doesn't matter where I live. God gave me a land called Israel. The last time, from what I remember, we were supposed to be living in Israel. That's our land, Roger. That's where we belong. You take us anywhere in the world, our souls is going to be dying for that land. I don't care if you're a Jew, Israeli, or a Pashtun Israeli. When the Pashtuns really wake up who they are, their souls are going to start crying for Jerusalem, because that's who we are. That's why I told you, I'm not a Jew, but I'm Jewish. And that's exactly what I meant. All of the Pashtuns are. We have to go back to our land.
Is that the
And we have to reunite.
Is that the objective, Hawed, to like reunify the 12 tribes and all 12 tribes return to Israel?
Oh, yes. At any cost, Roger, sorry. At any cost. At any cost. I don't care, hell or high. At any cost, this has to happen. And the reason why I'm telling you this with so much confidence is because it's time to shock the world, Roger. I'll tell you something. I don't know if you've got Muslims listening from your podcast or your show. Could you any Muslims watch this? They're going to get the shock of their life when they find out, and that majority of Muslims, that they are Israeli Pashtuns that are going to reunite with the Israeli Jews, like brothers, like cousins, like family we are. It's going to shock them to know that the son of Joseph is actually coming and fulfilling his birthright. That's, as I said, when I say that spiritual awakening, Rogers, I don't have a choice. I have to do this job because it's my task. If I don't do this on the day of judgment in front of Hashem, in front of God, I'm going to be accountable for not fulfilling my role.
Well, that's sure a heck of a big job. You know, I mean, it's hard enough to get 12 people together, but 12 tribes, that's almost, that seems like it's so daunting. Where do you even begin?
Well, the thing is that you have to be ready for challenges. You have to be ready for facing the impossible task. It is very difficult. I have tried for 4.5 years amongst the Muslim community, the people around me, the Arabs, our so-called cousins, they are our cousins. To be honest, I'll tell you something, Rogers. This is going to shock you. It might even shock your viewers, and you might be thinking I'm lying. Actually, this is reality. But in 4.5 years, when I was educating the Muslims that the Pashtuns are Israelis, we're Jewish. Believe me that I saw so much hatred. The fact that I was being proud of, when I was calling myself a Jewish. Like I said, I'm not a Jew, but I'm Jewish. See, just even that statement, instead of asking me, what do you mean? They get the point, but they don't like it. Mm-hmm. They showed me that, you know what, at the end of the day, if you're an Israeli, if you're a Jew or a Muslim, you're both disgusting. You're from the same tribe, you're the same people. And, you know, I saw so much anti-Semitism on the behalf of just being an Israeli. And I realized to myself, if they make me feel like this, I'm a Muslim. I'm from the same community. Can you imagine how a Jewish Israeli would feel? I could not. I was thinking, wow, it's not easy. If I am a Muslim amongst my own community, that is a big, huge, unfortunate incident that I had to face, and that made me realize how the Jews, my cousins, the Israelis, felt through the Holocaust, and since then up until now. I know how they feel. I have empathy with them now.
You know what I don't understand is when I'm always told about the era when you had Christians and Jews and Muslims all living together for quite a period of time in peace. But I've heard different versions of that story, that it wasn't really that hunky-dory. Could you tell me about that and when that was, and what's the real story behind that? Were they really all living in peace? And if so, then what ended it?
Well, I'll tell you something, Roger, from historical point of view. I'm talking facts now, I'm not talking my opinion. Did you, when the Muslims were ruling the Arabian Peninsula, the Jews were flourishing. The Jews were very open. The Jews could freely exercise their religion. They were into arts. They were into a lot of political and private specters. And so they were actually doing well. They were living in peaceful and harmony. It was mainly when the Crusaders came into the Middle East, things got up a bit uphealing and things got out of, the coordination. So mainly the Jews and the Muslims have always had a good relationship. It's just in the last 75 years since Gaza and Palestine, that's what's got really worse.
Oh, brother. What's the first thing you have to do from where you are now to proceed with this endeavor? What's, who do you contact first? Are you going to try to get in touch with one tribe first at a time, or how are you going about it?
Well, see, the thing is that it's a very good question, Roger. We've got people here, but this is it's a topic that no one really wants to touch for a lot of reasons. Some people don't like the idea, what it means. This is on my website, the coming of Joseph, the tribe of Ephraim, and the 12 tribes are uniting, is a messianic, according to eschatology, is towards the end of times.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. So for us, for even as Christians and Americans, these are the signs that were in the Bible as prophecies, and this is for the kind of which everyone has been waiting for all this 2,000 years, basically. So, I mean, isn't it time for now for him to come down? So, and at the end of the day, it's based. The foundation is religion, but it's built on politics. I don't claim to be a scholar of Judaism or Christianity. Basically, my job is to do my mission. I have only one mission, is to reunify the state of Bani Israel. Not just Israel, Bani Israel. And get for us to go back to our roots and our ancestry.
What is the website?
It's called IsraeliPashtun.com.
Israeli Pashtun.
Pashtun.com.
Pashtun, right?
.com. That's it. Yep.
Because that way the listeners can peruse through it and get a better understanding.
Yeah. When they see the website, they have a better idea. There's a lot of videos there as well. There's articles, so they can start having a look. We're going to keep adding more to it because the website is it's just been created.
So Israel.
No evidence, we get them all we put.
IsraeliPashtun.com.
That's it. Yep.
Right. All right. Now,
yes.
You say the Messiah is going to come. Messiah is still coming, correct?
Well, he has to come. He has to come because that's what we as Israelis, we were promised. We were promised that we're going to have a Messiah come down and do certain jobs. Like we were chosen as a nation, whether you're Muslim or a Jewish, we're Israelis, we're chosen people, we're the same people. Rogers, you can have 5, 6 brothers. 2 of them might have different ideologies. They might be a communist, you might be a capitalist. But that doesn't mean he's not your brother. That doesn't mean he's not the same blood or he's important. I might be an Israeli Muslim and someone else might be an Israeli Jew. For me, that is not any concern. They're my family. They're my people. That's the main thing that I want to install into the Pashtuns. They have to start feeling exactly the same way that I do about the Israeli Jews. And the problem is that there's so much animosity towards Jews, Israelis, is that no one's prepared to even listen. The minute you open your mouth and say Jews or Israelis, everyone's taking sides, they're prejudiced. What's happening in Gaza is obviously a humanitarian catastrophe. No one should die, whether you're Israeli or whether you're Palestinians. But that's a different matter we can't get into right now. And at the end of the day, it's all the attack is based on Jews, and the whole world is attacking them. The whole world is attacking them. The whole world's opinion has actually gone against the Israeli and Jewish people. And that's another sign. That's another sign for the Jews to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Other nations are gathering against you. And don't you think that's the time that your 12 tribes get together and we're supposed to have our Messiah come? I mean, basically, Rogers, to be honest, my entire whole discussion is not with the Christians or the Muslims. I have nothing to do with them. I have nothing to do with the Muslims, and I have nothing to do with the Christians. My entire whole job and mission is with Bani Israeli. Anyone who is an Israeli Jew, anyone who is an Israeli Muslim, that's who I deal with. Pashtuns, basically. My job is to do with my people. My people.
The Messiah. It's just a fanciful question, I suppose. But what's that going to? When it actually happens, what's it going to look like? I mean, obviously we don't know, but I mean,
that's why I said that. Go ahead, seriously.
No, go ahead.
No, please go ahead. Please go.
Well, I'm just feeling like you pointed out. Well, there's a sign that the Messiah is coming because the world is turning on the Jews now. In other words, are there some milestones that happen that are going to happen before the Messiah comes, and how do we know when it's actually starting to happen?
Well, to be honest, can you rephrase the question? The question?
Well,
just to make sure that I understand what you're saying.
I'm saying, are there any signs that will point that the Messiah, that it's getting closer and closer, that the Messiah is coming? When we mentioned about that the world is turning on Israel now, you mentioned that's kind of a sign that the Messiah is coming too. Okay, so tell us more about that. And are there other signs like that so that you can see when it's coming? And how do you know when it's really coming? I know it's a question.
Well, to be honest, in my honest opinion, that is something that we both have to go and ask a rabbi, because a rabbi is a scholared man. May God bless them, because they're the ones. They are the ones who hold every knowledge to our key. They are our teachers. They are our leaders. Like I would have to go and ask them. As I said, I'm not a scholar, so we'd have to go and ask. But generally, the biggest sign that you said at the beginning, Roger, is that your listeners and yourself can go and do research. You will never find anywhere that all of a sudden a person gets up from the middle of nowhere and says that I'm the son of Joseph and I want to do my birthright and reunify the 12 nations and do my job. This is unheard of. And when you see who the person is, as I said, Rogers, I don't know if you believe in conspiracy theories, but I can tell you one thing, that when I looked into evidence and when I wanted to make sure that I'm right, we are Israelis, I'm not just talking rubbish, I came across so much information that I put some of them on my website, that I started thinking, how does Mossad not know who we are? I sent Mossad, CIA, MI6, and AGO a letter telling them exactly who I am, where I live, and what my job, what my vision is. So it's really hard for me to believe that the government, especially Israeli government, doesn't know who we are. Mossad doesn't know who we are. That for me is, I can't believe that. And that's what also makes me a bit upset with my cousins, Roger. Like, the normal people, the civilians, I don't mind. But if Mossad knew that the Pashtuns are our lost 10 tribes, then, what's taking you so long to come and make this public? And if you did, why in the world are you just abandoning us and you've left us to a bunch of terrorists? And there's a lot of questions. I mean, it's a complicated issue. I don't know where to start from.
Sure.
But mainly, as I said, to reawaken the Pashtuns to know that what their responsibilities are and to be proud of it. Today, Pashtuns are, if you go and tell them that you're a you're Jewish from Israeli ancestry, they are ashamed of it. They have so much animosity. They might even have hatred towards Jews. A lot of them have hatred towards Jews. And that is wrong. If they knew that this is their cousins, everyone else hates them, you shouldn't.
Well,
you might disagree with your cousins.
Well, when I was a kid, I used to scratch my head and say, why all this friction that's over in that part of the world? And yet, to me, now maybe I'm wrong. You correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me that it's really it's the same race.
It is the same
race of people. It's the same, facially, it's the same race of people, is it not? And so I could never understand why it's so fractured between the Muslims and the Jews. When it struck me that they're really the same race of people. I mean, I'm not far off, or I'm not wrong by saying that.
No, you will see things that when it comes to Islam, the Arabs are a different. I'll tell you something, Rogers. This is where it gets tricky.
Mm-hmm.
When we say we're being the same race, equality, human rights, every human has the same right. Doesn't matter if you're black or if you're white, if you're Jew or Muslim, Hindu, we're all the same. We have same equal rights. We should always have the same legal rights. As far as nations are concerned, we're all equal. But there's one difference between Israelis and the rest of the world. We have a covenant with God. We have a promise with God. We are chosen for a specific job, a responsibility. We have a duty to do. So that makes us a bit different compared to the rest of them. With all due respect, and that's a reality, we as Israelis, we have a lot of work to do. We're not chosen just to sit back and enjoy life, Roger. Sorry. We are not chosen, whether you're Muslim or a Jew, Israeli, we are not chosen to enjoy life and just sit back and do nothing. We have a responsibility. We have a job to do. We have a mission. We have a covenant with Hashem.
Now, do all 12 tribes need to be together, unified, and in Israel before the Messiah comes?
And we have to build the third temple.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So let me just go back. So the 12 tribes do have to be united and be in Israel. And
well, not specifically in Israel. I wouldn't actually go that far. But when I say you reunify, like when I say reunification, I'm talking about basically the hearts, the souls, the minds, the roots.
Mm-hmm.
But don't forget, Roger, that whether we are Muslims or not, I don't care if you're a Jew, anyone who's a Jew, that is my land as well. Abraham was my grandfather as well. I am the son of Joseph. Whether you like me or not, my dear cousin, my Jewish dear cousin, I'm equal to you. We're equal. We're the same people. Your beliefs might be different, my beliefs might be different, but as a nation, we are both equal. So that's our land. When this is where then I have a controversy with the Muslims. Then they turn around and say, "Oh, you want to kick out the Palestinians, so you guys want to kick out the Palestinians." That becomes another debate. That is our land. That is our land. So whatever it means, we have to come back to our land. We have to come back to our roots. We have to come back to our heritage. We have to come back to who we are.
I've learned something. I hope our listeners have learned something. We just have seconds left, but folks, IsraeliPashtun.com. That's IsraeliPashtun.com. And that would be the way to learn more about this. You've been a real pleasure, Hawed, and I hope you and your family do well in Australia, and I hope your endeavor proceeds. And come on back and let us know how you're doing. Okay?
It was a pleasure being on your show, Rogers. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a lovely weekend, and God bless your family and the rest of the listeners.
Well, the same to you, Hawed. This is the Jiggy Jaguar Show. Roger Homefield sitting in for Jiggy Jaguar. Thanks for being with us.